Let's get over to our main segment here one more time with this cool sounder.
What's your favorite scary movie?
But wait, there's more.
All right, we have 30 Days of Night, a spooky review of the 2007 feature here. A little peek behind the curtain. When I was trying to find sounders to piece all that little clip together, the wife was very freaked out because I'm just like playing on loud all of these creepy laughs and screams, and she's like, "What are you doing?"
Oh, jeez. Yeah, no, that would be rattling to hear. Another little peek behind the curtain. Wes, not a big horror guy, but this year we decided we might lean into it a little bit.
I'm putting my balls on the table here, Nick, and say, let's do it for content, you know?
Okay. I was very excited to hear that when we were trying to plan stuff out because the missus has helped me get into spooky stuff a little bit more. I've actually, it turns out that I do have a pair. So I've been very excited.
Still searching.
Well, are you after watching this?
No, this wasn't scary. No,
but there's some like stuff.
It was suspenseful.
Yes, it's suspenseful. So what are we talking about today?
Yes, 30 Days of Night here. Hit us with the synopsis.
So this 2007 movie, after an Alaskan town is plunged into darkness for a month, it is attacked by a bloodthirsty gang of vampires. Very simple synopsis, very accurate.
Pretty simple, succinct, to the point here. This movie's directed by David Slade and written by Stephen Niles, Stuart Beattie, and Brian Nelson. Starring Josh Hartnett, who's getting a little bit of a comeback story here with Oppenheimer. But he plays Eben Olsen. Melissa George playing Stella Olsen. Danny Huston as Marlowe. Ben Foster makes an appearance as the Stranger. Mark Boone Jr. as Bo Brower. Mark Rendell as Jake Olsen. Amber Sainsbury as Denise. Manu Bennett as Billy Kitka. Megan Franish is Iris, not Irish. Joel Tobeck as Doug Hertz and Elizabeth Hawthorne as Lucy Ecos.
And also, Stephen Niles is the writer of the comic book, which came out in 2002. That was drawn by Ben Templesmith. We'll talk about that in some capacity a little bit later. But it's good to see him.
He got a writer credit.
Exactly.
He didn't use any AI rewrites.
Good for him. Maybe they could use a little help. But anyways, box office and critic reception is hauled in 75.5 million worldwide, 39.5 million domestic. The opening weekend, it had a 15.9 million opening weekend. Again, this came out in 2007, so a little bit different. This was a $30 million budget. So from a box office standpoint, that means it was successful. Because that's what we've at least said in the past, whether or not we're right or wrong. 2.5 or 1.5. Yeah, 2.5, right?
Yeah, 1.5 to 2, I think is what it is, right?
Oh,
when you're considering the marketing behind it. But I'm not sure for Halloween movie or like horror movies, I'm not sure if the same marketing goes into it. I don't know.
Right. But so 1.5 is break even. So then this is absolutely a success.
Yeah, I think that's so. Yeah, I think that's what works.
And then received, it's a 6.6 on IMDb, 51-56 split on Rotten Tomatoes, and then a 4.2 out of 5 on Google reviews, with 88% of Google users liking this movie. Wes, we're going to alter our scoring a little bit for this. Can you tell the people logic behind it?
Yeah, just I don't know. I just kind of like the idea of incorporating spooky. I just wanted to switch it up. So let's get some spooky ghosts on it here. On the scale of 1 to 10, how many spooky ghosts do you give this movie?
I'm going to give this 6 out of a possible 10 spooky ghosts. Really nice concept. I still feel that way after watching it and reading the comic. Specific part of the ending was not done well, and that absolutely hurt the score. But overall, the dialogue was probably the biggest issue that I had with this. In terms of the scariness, though, definitely had a healthy amount of that in here.
Yeah, we're in the same. We get the same score, but maybe we got there differently. Maybe we took a different path there. It's a decent spin on a vampire tale. I love the setting of Alaska. I agree with you. I thought Josh Hartnett and Danny Huston were solid, as was Ben Foster as a stranger too. We'll talk about him a little bit. I thought Melissa George, she might come up a little bit. I thought she was very captivating on screen. How's that for her? I thought she captured my attention pretty well.
Really?
Oh, she's nice to look at. That's
okay. All right.
That's
all right.
I was trying to find a colorful way to say that.
Yeah, no. Okay.
But instead, what I should have just said is her boobs were huge, you know?
Oh, okay.
I don't see them that much. They're in they're all covered up in jackets. You know, this is Alaska in the wintertime.
That makes sense. Okay, that's probably why I didn't take any notice of that. But I was actually, because I was confused when I saw this note, because like I thought she was not good at all. But now,
no, I just think she was very attractive. I wasn't really listening to the words that were coming out of her mouth at that point in time.
Gotcha. Well,
but it's a very cheesy ending to your point there. 6 out of 10. But you know, it's like a horror movie. That's also why. I mean, if you want the real reasons aside from like the spooky ghost thing, I'm just not sure if we were to give this a 70. I don't know, on the same scale, you know what I mean? Using the same scale that we usually do for movies. I feel like horror movies are supposed to be campy and kind of B-list movies, C-list movies to like that's what everyone's coming into it as. So if it exceeds anything, it's a great B movie.
Yeah.
How many horror movies are just great movies on their own?
Yeah, there's definitely ones with major flaws in them that probably like that, and that's why it hurts their scores. I like this. I watched this and I was like, okay, at best, I could probably give this a 70 at best, but I'm like, I feel like I'm reaching. And then when we changed the scale on our score, I'm like, no, I can't. Maybe a 65 at that point when I saw we changed the scale. And the missus watched it with me. She liked it even less than me. And the big problem was the dialogue, and specifically with Melissa George. Like,
well, you guys hate women, and I'm a known women supporter, a champion of women there,
of course.
As a father of a daughter.
Right. This is all completely 100% accurate. Yes.
Well, I would say it's definitely not inaccurate. Some of the things I said there.
Right. Yes. No. Of course. Yeah. Of course. Jesus. Yeah. Of course. All right. So where do we want to start here?
Let's start with the setting. All right.
Yeah.
We got 1 day left before no daylight returns for 30 days in Alaska here. Pretty bleak town. Do you like the setting of Alaska for a spooky movie?
I love it. I think it's perfect. I need more of this kind of stuff. If there is other stuff out there like this, like set in Alaska, listeners, let me know. I want to hear about it. I want to watch it. I know I knew this had existed, and I never watched it because, again, like I always liked horror related stuff, but I wasn't into horror because like I get scared shitless. I honestly do. My imagination.
Well, now you have someone to hold you close at night too.
Exactly. Yes. She's the one that's going to take care of something like, if there's a ghost, of course. But another one that's like spooky, or like it's not scary, but it has like creepy vibes, is the Wolverine the Long Night podcast. That is set in Alaska and also got turned into a comic book. I would love to see that turned into a movie. Probably will never happen. But
Logan's an Alberta Canadian resident anyway, so it's not too far of a trek for him. He's already on the Pacific West Coast of Canada.
And it's got like a cult vibe to it and everything. It's very and for a story that's like more about these like CIA type agents that are hunting him down, like trying to find Wolverine. It's more about them. I like love how that was done, love how it was written and everything. I know Goo will criticize some of the audio for it, but I don't have as like fine of an ear as he does for that shit. But I highly recommend.
He's an audio snob.
Exactly. So 100%. So yeah, I love this setting.
Yeah, I do too. If you're looking for a movie with that setting, Insomnia is a good suspense thriller. Al Pacino, Robin Williams. Robin Williams plays a serial killer. Al Pacino's a detective. Pretty interesting movie. I think I might have saw that one in theaters with my dad. But either way, that and then True Detective season 4, which I want to say has Jodie Foster in it. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it's a all female leading roles there for season 4. But that's also going to be in Alaska.
Oh, okay. I was very looking forward to it, but now hearing that it's in Alaska, like that's awesome. And I feel like Insomnia's got to be like a pretty big deal. I feel like I've heard of it, but
Yeah, I mean,
I've
Al
never seen it.
Pacino, Robin Williams, you know.
Hilary Swank. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty.
Oh, that's the yep. That was the actress there. I couldn't
Okay.
think of her.
There we go. But yeah, so you have watched this.
Yeah. No, it's a good years ago as a kid, but I remember thinking it was a pretty good movie.
Okay, yeah, I definitely got to give this one a look at some point. But yeah, so we're all in on Alaska as a spooky setting.
Give us more, and then is 28 days later, 28 weeks later? Is that also set in Alaska?
Nope,
No,
that's in England.
Oh, okay. Because this would make sense with 30 days a night, 28 days later. I don't know. Maybe
every numbered horror movie is set in Alaska.
It should be. Is
there?
There's probably a Jim Carrey movie, The Number 13 or Eternal Sunshine of the Spotlight Mind or something. That's got to take place in Alaska, right?
23 is not Eternal. No, I don't think either of them are. But you know what? That should have been in the Writers Guild, MGA or whatever, MBA.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Maybe it's not too late. Maybe we can send him a quick memo.
I think. Yeah. Why not? All right. What? Let's go. How about spookiest scene?
Yes. Spookiest scene. I got this one jumped out to me the most because I wasn't too scared as I was expecting here. There's some good jump scares and like seeing you, but I always kind of knew where things were going to happen. They showed was it a waste grinder, recycling grinder there in the beginning. I was like, oh, that's going to be an awesome death later in the movie. Yep. So I was waiting for that moment, but it's early during the assault when the vampires first kind of raid the town, and you see, I don't know if it's one or two of the vampires torturing an older husband and wife couple in their own home right before they're kind of like playing with their food. They're toying with them a little bit. And that was the spookiest, kind of scariest part because you could see how like they were kind of helpless with one another, but you could also see like the fear for one another.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't the one you're not talking about the couple that they pulled, like that kept getting pulled under the houses, right?
No, but that also popped up in my mind as I was talking about that. So that also makes the list. But it's a very quick scene, and then they kind of separate the husband and wife. They're both on like opposite sides of like the living room or something, and then they kind of die off screen. But you kind of hear the screams from like, I don't know, the street, the driveway of the house, you know?
Gotcha. Yeah, because that's what I was. I thought it was the other couple when you jotted it down because it's like I'm blanking on that one.
It was quick, but I remember thinking the first time I saw it, I'm like, oh man, that I don't like that.
There's some freaky shit in this movie. Like there's no question about it. And the vampires are pretty like rough looking in a good way. But you know what? For me, I thought the stranger, played by Ben Foster, who did a quick search because he's like a guy. Like I'm watching, I'm like I recognize him from somewhere. He's Angel in
X3, The Last Stand. Yeah,
The Last Stand, exactly.
But he's in a bunch of stuff too. He's in Hell or High Water. He's in what's the other movie with Justin Timberlake and Anton Yelich?
Nope, no idea.
Oh, it's based on a true story. Alpha Dog. They're an Alpha Dog.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, but I feel like there's something else I've seen of him, but I just don't know.
He's been in a bunch of stuff. He's a pretty good actor.
Very unsettling individual in this movie, and that's I will talk shortly about like doing the comic book justice, but there was a slight difference with him that occurred too. But like in the end, like they're going to make some changes, and it's fine. I also thought one thing that scares the fuck out of me is in any good horror movie is when you see characters kind of just like move quick, like in the background. And it's just, and this is like, I've seen a lot more of it now, having watched a bunch of shit, but like 07, I don't know how much they were doing it at that time. And I still felt like they did a good job with it in this movie, having seen it done elsewhere before, where like, they're just like jumping from rooftop to rooftop.
And even before, it's like I think it was one of the first kills that they have, but they're kind of running circles, like doing like a box around a guy. You kind of see him, and he's like, "Where is he?" And it's like it was the fat guy who was holding the light when they're like checking on something outside.
Yep.
He's like, "What's going on?" And then he finally goes, but like specifically to what you were saying, the rooftops when they're like coming over the peak of a rooftop, and you kind of see him out of focus, and then it slowly shifts the focus to the background, and you're like, "Oh shit, that one's gonna get him."
Yep, 100%. They do it. It's done so quietly and so smoothly. So yeah, that to me those little moments really like stick with you, and that's the kind of shit that like when I'm walking around my house with the lights on, where I'm like I double take just to make sure like nothing fucking happened.
Mm-hmm. Well,
But
this is a solo question, Nick, because you are a comic book reader.
mm,
Does this do the comic book justice?
yeah, I think by and large, and I know we're both giving this movie a 6 out of 10, but part of the problem
But
is like
that's good for a horror movie. I think. I think that's why we switched the rankings up, right? I
it
mean, I think that's
is, but I think that a horror comic, I think those are usually done better. I think like you take some of the like horror movies don't always bring in the best actors. Like that's just like I just feel like that's always
right.
kind of the
Yeah.
case because like the best actors don't get killed on screen. They're not down for that kind of stuff. So that element kind of gets taken out of it. I would probably give the comic like a 7 out of 10. And
Okay.
and I don't love the art, and that's definitely a detractor for me. And that's so maybe the
Ooh.
writing is actually an 8 out of 10, and that's with like third person narrative, which I'm a narration, which I'm not always a big fan of. I feel like it can be really forced, but that could absolutely be better. But that ending, that's by and large like that's how it ends, like where he does like the throat rip kind of thing, but not Swayze style for those who
Mm-hmm.
haven't seen it. But yeah, like a big thing, the stranger doesn't get in the comic does not get killed by the vampires. He gets killed by what is it, Eben and his partner. They're the
Mm-hmm.
ones that kill him in the prison.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that was the
I
difference.
like that. I like that change though for the movie.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And then I mean, especially when like Niles, the writer of this series, is the one of the writers for like one of the screenplay writers. Okay, like if he's making those changes, then I definitely like
Yeah, that's true.
gets my blessing. Stella
Good for him that he gets a little double dip on the payday
Mhm.
there. He writes the comic and then he's like, you know what? Let's write the script and we'll just change a couple things here and
Yeah,
there.
Stella
Good for
in
him.
the comic is with Eben still. They're not like separated or anything. And then probably the biggest change in the movie, the head vampire who's played by a guy I forget that actor's name, but he's also in
It's pretty recognizable.
yeah, the X-Men movies too.
Oh yeah.
But he speaks English in the comics. He does not speak English in the movie.
Well, yeah. J- How many comics do they speak a different language in?
Well, but they could do something where it's like they put like brackets, and they'll like the first time he speaks, it'll be like star translated from Russian. So it'll be English to us the whole time, but we know the like Josh Hartnett's not hearing it in English. We are just the benefits of it. So they flat out made that change here.
Now I might be veering off too much here. Maybe this is my editorial mind here coming. What's the purpose of that? What do they gain by saying this was a Russian translation?
Because in that instance, you're still helping the readers be knowledgeable of what's being said, but then the characters within the story have no clue what's going on, which is what happened for us in the movie. We're still reading what the guy's saying. We know what he's saying.
I see. Okay, I get you. Yeah. Gotcha.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. So that's again, like it's an important change in terms of the back and forth between the characters in the movie. So there's that dynamic, but in the end, like I'm fine with it.
I gotcha. All
Did
right.
it justice.
Yes, my judgment has been rescinded there.
There we go.
We touched on this a little bit there in your last answer with the ending, but what was the cheesiest scene and why was it Hartnett becoming a vampire to beat the vampires?
Yeah, I mean, like that, you know, that's
I'm going to inject myself with a dead man's blood who is partly becoming half vampire, but he still had a heart of gold. So I'm going to do that and save the woman I love.
Yeah. So it actually,
which we can get into the whole love story thing in a little bit later too, but I got some questions about that.
I'm pretty sure that guy in the book, in the comic, goes off for a bit. He doesn't, they don't, if I'm not mistaken, he like goes off for, the guy who he takes the blood from, he did not have a heart of gold. He did not like stop himself. Like he turns and then kind of goes off and takes like a person or two out before he gets killed, and then they extract blood from him. So that's a pretty significant difference.
That is a wild decision to make on a whim. I mean, you have 30 seconds, less than a minute, whatever it is, to make that decision that you're going to inject a dead vampire, half vampire's blood into you.
Yeah, that's tough, and it's like a tough one too, because like in this actually, this is another significant change. And I don't mean to keep doing this, but in the
The
comic,
books were much better.
no, it no, actually, this is where the movie might be better. In the comic, Stella's with Hartnett. They're not. I mean, with Evan. They don't have these issues. So she's with him in that moment when he injects himself. He does it because he has to get them out of the town, and they're going to tear the whole town down still. But he does it to stop them. In this instance, he's trying to in the movie. He's trying to save Stella. So it kind of makes more sense.
Okay. All right. I get you there.
I still don't love it. But like that, it makes more sense in that instance.
It's not great. Not great.
Either way, the way he kills the head vampire, he just turns into a vampire. And then out of nowhere, there's no like precedent set of like younger vampires. Lauren pointed out, like if they said younger vampires like of this type are stronger than older vampires, then okay, it makes sense. But they don't talk about that.
No. You know why that he's stronger? It's not because he's a younger vampire. It's because he's still human.
Okay.
And he's driven by love. That's the subtext.
Well,
these vampires have no love. They have they're loveless.
I mean, I guess that's fair, but still.
Are there any unanswerable questions? Feels like there are.
You have a bunch. You got. I think you hit on all the notes. I didn't come up with any because you.
Well, what's the deal with Stella and Eben here? What is their deal? Because I didn't even realize it until I just read through the cast and crew here. Stella is actually married to. They're still married.
Yeah. Well, I got that they were separated.
Maybe. I just thought they were dating. I didn't know they were actually like went that far through marriage.
Oh, okay. I mean, you know what? In fairness, I didn't get that they were married. I got that they were a serious thing. So, I mean, at least that.
Yeah, well, they're the two hottest people in a town of 30 people in Podunk, Alaska. Like, of course they're going to be gravitated towards one another. Like, this is day one stuff.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. Although his partner is, was it Manu Bennett? He's a good-looking dude. He's been in other shit too.
Yeah. I guess that's true. But we never get any resolution for it. They never have that conversation. By all accounts, Evan seems like a real stand-up guy. Like, why wouldn't this hot fire marshal lady just like not want to settle down with the police sheriff? Like, that seems like a perfect match.
They were settled down. I don't know. It's very strange. It seems like it's done as it's a plot device in the end.
Right. Yeah, but it doesn't pay off. They just end up, I don't know. I wanted a little bit more there.
No, that's fair. I don't like it.
The stranger was the familiar of the vampires, right? Again, subtext there. That wasn't really said out loud, but I was trying to put some puzzle pieces together.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what he is. That's what it seems like. Yeah.
So, but he doesn't even get turned. He just gets killed.
Yeah, tough ending for that guy. He was a very good character.
I would have liked more of him. I would like maybe even a prequel of him.
Oh,
maybe ditch the love story and the human aspect of it and give us 20 more minutes of the stranger meeting these vampires and telling them in a bar, hey, you got to go to Alaska.
Yeah, I mean, that could be that. I'm interested in more of that character for sure.
Yes, absolutely. Also, did the chick who nearly participated in a devil's threesome deserve to live?
Which I like.
She's the brown-haired girl in the end. She's the brunette.
The brunette,
and she's kind of got like that Russian hat with the flaps.
Oh, that girl. That's right. Okay, she lived, and then it was his brother, and then some older woman, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean.
No, the two dudes die, and then she just was able to get away from the very fast vampires.
It was surprising. Yeah.
I'm not sure if we should reward that type of chicanery.
Yeah, you know.
I'm just saying. They call it a devil's threesome for a reason. Could you live in Alaska?
No, I don't think I could. I do like the cold a little bit here and there. Like I like the fall. The winter, I like snow for Christmas, and that's it. Mm-hmm. That's about it. So, no.
I would like to say that I'm man enough to handle the Great Frontier, but I'm not. They say it's -10 at a certain point. Like, that's crazy. But I do like the idea of living off the grid and kind of being like a Bo Brower type of guy. who's just like, we're all trying to be free here, man. This is the last piece of freedom, like really true freedom in the United States that you could get, where you just kind of, you don't really have to do anything. You're kind of off the grid. You're kind of away in your own little world. That idea of it, I kind of like, but as I say, anyone who goes to Alaska, they're trying to escape something.
Yeah. That's what it is. There is, because I was you're running from something. Yeah. So same thing.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't. I absolutely could not do that. No. And I the idea of homesteading and stuff like that is interesting, but like that alone, there's shit you got to figure out. Then you try and do it in like negative 10 degree weather on like
give me like Colorado or something that has like more seasons,
Yeah, exactly.
I could do that. Northern Arizona.
Northern Arizona.
Yeah, Northern Arizona is snow.
Actually?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I didn't.
It's more seasonal. Where do you think the top of Arizona and the bottom of Colorado is?
I honestly didn't even realize they border each other. I don't know. Like
you're not aware of the four corner states. You don't know what the four corner states are.
Those are the four corner states.
No, those are two of them. What are the other two?
Wyoming and Utah.
Not Wyoming, but it's Utah, New Mexico.
New Mexico. We actually tried to go there a couple of years ago, but like you can't get a flight to the Four Corners like near it at all.
Oh, really? You wanted to go to the Four Corners?
Yeah, Laura and I were going on our first vacation. We ended up going to San Diego, which obviously can do a lot worse than that. But yeah, we wanted to do it. I think my parents had talked about I thought they went, but then they ended up not going because it's very difficult to get to. Like the closest airport was like a 4-hour drive away.
That's by design because it's probably got some like esoteric, like weird wooey dewy type of vibes to it. You probably stand in the center and you probably just transcend to another dimension.
There you go. That's probably what it is. It's probably for the best that we didn't do it.
Well, or you could be missing out greatly.
This is also true. You'll never know until we go.
I guess so.
Or you can go first and then you tell me.
I will. I'll let you know. We'll book it. What is aged the best in this movie?
I mean, just the concept is awesome. It really is. I think that this, I would be very much open to like a 30 days later reboot and then them totally trying some different shit. And even then,
30 days later, and that somehow weaves into 28 days later.
Did I say 30 days later?
Well, no, but 30 days of night, but 30 days later after the night. I think that would be the sequel.
Yeah, I fucked up. My point is,
I picked up what you were putting down. Maybe subtly, maybe subconsciously, you meant to say that, but
maybe. But either way, if you remade this, give it some better dialogue, change up the ending, and honestly, should not be would you have felt better if that was not a happy ending to that movie?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure if I would feel satisfied or it just wouldn't feel as corny.
That would have at least bumped it up to a 70 for me. Like a 7 out of 10 on our scale.
True love prevails, that's good to know. It's good to know for the kids these days.
I
thought Marlowe, I thought the lead vampire was great. I don't know why or when vampires got this debonair, like suave, sophisticated, kind of sexy type of look to them. But like Marlowe's not sexy, but they're all well dressed. Like all the vampires are well dressed. He's got like a high collared button down with like a tailored velvet jacket. They're obviously not cold because they're lifeless, right?
Right.
But I thought Marlowe, the concept was very cool. I liked the language choice, whatever they were speaking in there. I thought that was very cool.
Yes.
And the only thing that looks crude or crass about them is their mouth, is their teeth.
Yes.
Everything else looks normal, which I thought was kind of cool too.
And that's something in the comic that I do really appreciate, where like the art there is kind of rough. I do think that in a way that fits. It's just that it felt like it could have been a little more refined. But yeah, Danny Huston is Marlowe, and yeah, he is Stryker. I forget what age for Stryker. No, he's Stryker in the X-Men Wolverine Origins. That's what it was.
Yeah, I knew I recognized him. Yeah. Then we touch on the setting, and then obviously the Stranger. I thought he had a really great performance, and Ben Foster there.
Yeah.
Those are some of the things that aged the best, but what are some of the things that aged the worst?
I mean, the dialogue again, it just felt very clunky. I'm not going in citing specific stuff, but it felt like, and this is where I was
No,
thrown.
I know what you mean. I can't picture anything, but there were points that definitely jumped out. Where like, ooh, this feels
Melissa
like
George was rough.
someone's just holding up a cue card and they're reading it, sort of thing.
Yeah, and I think she just didn't do a good job flat out, but also like the writing with her character at sometimes was worse more so than anybody else. I think the only ones when you talk about dialogue that didn't have issues, it's weird to say it, but like Marlowe, like we're still seeing the writing at least. It's like he's not speaking not the language we understand, and then the stranger was perfect, obviously.
Yes, yeah. Hartnett becoming the vampire, we already touched on that, but Eben's brother. What a little bitch. Did not care for Eben's brother at all. He could just go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know something about annoying a little brothers named Jake.
This is also true. Yes, but he probably have better on-camera presence.
He would. Judging from, again, that best man speech at your wedding, much more charisma, much more enthusiasm than Eben's brother. Eben is also a weird name. I think Eben, the name, might have aged the worst because I didn't enjoy that.
I forgot that, like, because I went and just watched the movie, and then and after I watched it, I went and looked back at the comic again. But I forgot, like, and then we get towards the end, and then someone like really clearly says Eben. I was just hearing Evan the whole time, and then Lauren like turns to me and goes, "Wait, is his name Eben?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Do you know? Have you ever met an Eben in your life?
No,
Nope. I knew one.
Oh,
and they're weird. They're weird. The Ebens.
Well, there you go. That was proof. That's 2 for 2.
Yeah. I mean, why else is Hartnett up in Alaska? Why is this like good-looking guy up in Alaska? Same thing with that chick. What are they hiding from? You know?
Mm-hmm. Yep. This is very true. That's a really good point.
Anyone not named the stranger for best performance by a side character?
You wrote down Bo Brower, who was played by Mark Boone Jr., who is also known as Bobby from Sons of Anarchy. Love that guy. He was. I thought he was great in this one.
He was great, and then he's got the great. I don't know what this piece of machinery is, but it's like a giant saw on a. I don't know, backhoe. You know what? I don't know what it's called. Someone who's smarter than me or more manlier than I am can let us know in the comments here. But he has a great going out scene. Like that's like his final scene right there, you know. And he's chopping people up left and right. I like that. That's good. And again, I like his American frontier free spirit in the beginning. Hey, I'm just leaking a little oil out into the earth, man. You don't have to do anything.
Right.
You don't have to give me this ticket. I like that.
Yep. 100%. Like who's gonna like. You know, I get that you can't just run completely wild, like you gotta respect other people around you out there, but at the same time, like one would think you can get away with a lot more out there.
Just give me a warning, I'll clean it up, you know? Like what are we doing?
Yep.
Who lost the movie, Nick? Who lost the movie?
I would say Melissa George probably lost this movie because it was, you know, she wasn't great.
I disagree. I think she was a stunning angel, and she needs more work, more camera time.
Okay, I think your choice is actually
can we bring back silent movies for her?
Oh, there you go. I don't even know. I feel like is she in? So that's Stella. No, Estella is her name in this. I don't know what else she's in. I don't recognize her at all.
I think she's the younger sister of Regina George.
She plays Angel Parrish in the Australian soap opera Home and Away. There we go.
Good for her.
Soap. That makes sense now.
I like it.
Your pick's a good one though that you have for this.
Yeah, this other sheriff who killed his family and then lost his arm in the waist grinder only to turn into a vampire. I mean, that's pretty tough, right?
So this is Billy. Billy is the character's name, and it's Manu Bennett. I mentioned it earlier. He played Deathstroke in the Green Arrow show.
Oh, good for him. Okay, so he landed on his feet, not his arm, but his feet.
And this is the origin story of Slade Wilson.
Yeah, there we go. Right. Hartnett is a big loser in this because he gives up his life for a woman who, well, I guess has his last name, but they're not really together.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
He's simping big time.
Yeah,
that's what the kids would say.
I don't know what else is he in? He's in Halloween H2O. So he's in this and Halloween H2O.
Yeah, he's also in some high school scary movie too. I forget what it's called, but it's like
40 Days and 40 Nights?
no, that's a comedy about
Never seen it.
abstaining from sex, Nick. Come on.
Well, that
Come
sounds like
on.
a horror story to me. Black Hawk Down.
No, Black Hawk Down, no, or Black Hawk Down. Neither one of those.
I know that Black Hawk Down's not a horror. I just want to put that out there. There's also Pearl Harbor.
No, Pearl Harbor. Yeah, no, you just keep scrolling.
The Black Dahlia?
No.
That looks pretty freaky though. Holy shit. A neo-noir crime thriller? Oh, geez, and the poster for that is let's see. I Come with the Rain.
Okay, we're done with this bit. Who won the movie?
I think Alaska. That's about it. Although the people who made this movie, they ended up making a good profit on this movie.
I would say anyone who doesn't live in Alaska, because the scary part is that even the people who live within Alaska wouldn't have ever found out about this. They would just think there was some horrible brush fire or oil leak or whatever happened that caused the whole town to burn down. They would never hear about it. And this would just be a quick 30-second spot on NBC News or something. Like this is how we would hear about it. 4 months later, there might be an in-depth piece in like the New York Times or something. Like you wouldn't get much about this.
I hate to say it, but you're probably right. And it's like 100 something people. Like that's like
a whole town. Yeah, a whole town goes away. Like what was the train derailment in Ohio, East Palestine, Ohio? Like we heard about that. I guess we would then. I don't know.
Maybe, but this is like you say it's a whole town. This is a small ass town though, Wes. This is it's like 100. What was it? There's like 300 people, and then like half the town leaves or something like that.
That's true. That's a good point.
It's something to that degree. Yeah, it's very strange, very small.
That was another unanswerable question. It looked like couples were leaving each other for the month. Like the husband would leave and the wife would leave or whatever. And like in the beginning there, and I was like, what? Why would you do that?
I'll tell you
what. All right, enjoy depression. I'm going to go down to South Beach.
I think that's a borderline unanswerable question. Why would you live here unless you were trying to run from something?
Yeah. It just seems odd to me.
I get Alaska, but this is like the most northern part, and you have to I think it's maybe once in a lifetime to experience 30 days of night like that. Like that might be interesting once.
Sure.
But even then, I'm like, I don't know about that. But this is where you live year round.
Could you do 30? What do you think would be easier to do? 30 days a night or 30 days of day?
30 days a day, 100%.
You think so?
No question about it. Yeah,
because you can close out the light, right?
Exactly.
You can get heavy shades, things like that. Okay, but I still think it would screw with your circadian rhythm. Like,
well, we don't experience 30. Yeah, no, it would definitely mess with you either way. But like, we don't experience obviously 30 days of night, but when it gets pretty cloudy, it can get dark for a long ass time.
Yeah, for sure. But like, I think I'm way more productive when it's light out. I do more things. I'm like, I have more time to do things. And when it gets dark at 4:00 in the afternoon, I'm like, okay, the day's done.
Yes, 100%. So that's kind of what I feel like I was trying to say we do experience it, and it's not ideal when that happens.
Yeah.
But like a long ass day, yeah, that's fine.
But it just never ends. Like I feel like I could never just like sit down on the couch. I have a tough time like being a lazy slug in the summertime.
Do you have blackout curtains in your house?
No, I like sunlight.
Okay, but when you go to sleep, like does sunlight wake you up in the morning? I'm dead serious.
I'm up before the sun gets up.
Okay, all right.
No, not really, not usually. No,
but like it didn't used to be much of a thing for me. Now it kind of is, but like I never had blackout curtains. I now do, and like if I was experiencing 30 days of light, I just use blackout curtains and I'd be fine at night.
Interesting.
It's perfect.
That does it here. So, once again, how many spooky ghosts on our spooky ghost scale? What do you give 30 days a night?
I would give it 6 spooky ghosts.
I'm right there. That's a CMM aggregate score for spooky ghost of 6.
Okay.
This is available. I should have said this from the top. I watched this on Amazon, paid $3.99 for it, but if you wanted to, you could go to Tubi and
That's what I
watch
did.
that for free. And I didn't have the account, I didn't have everything set up, so I just thought it would be easier to pay for the money there for Amazon to rent it. But I'm pretty sure, maybe you could correct me on this, Tubi is like the place to go to for Halloween movies.
Tubi is the place for horror stuff, absolutely. And Lauren and I did watch it there. And the commercials can be quite a bit annoying.
Oh,
at
there
times.
are commercials on it too? Okay.
Yeah, it's free though, so like
Yeah,
I'm fine with it, you know. But I will say that if you go there and let's say you watch 30 Days a Night and it's interesting, and you're like, I want to watch something else scary. There's some Amityville horror specials on there, at least one that I know of, and it features our former resident guy in the chair, Tim Weisberg. So make sure you give that a look if you're over there. I gotta watch that again.
And that's his expert. You know, we talk about the Bridgewater Triangle and the Mothman and different things with him, right? But the Amityville horror, that's his bread and butter.
That's his absolute favorite. I think his bread and butter is Bridgewater Triangle, but his absolute favorite is Amityville horror, 100%, no question.
Oh, okay, well, you didn't have to correct me there, but
no, but I'm not. I'm playing the asshole today, apparently. So,
all right.
What's your favorite scary movie?
A little long, admittedly.
I love it.
But wait, there's more.